Welcome to the Muddied Waters of Freedom with your hosts, Matt Wright and Mohammed Shaker.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Mohammed Liberty Movement Shaker. God, that one was weak. I am Matt Wright, and together, I did. And together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Does your headset sound weird like mine?
Okay, yours does too?
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yeah.
Now it sounds good.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed that track, Ownership by Backwards, one of my favorite songs from that album.
Yeah, I love that song. That song
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah.
That's the song that made me buy the album.
Yeah.
So, I can't really ask what you were doing this week because we kind of covered that Wednesday when we did our show.
Yeah. I lost my keys to my car.
Yes, you did. Did you ever find those?
Nope. Had to buy a new set.
That sucks.
Yeah. Yep. $150 down the drain.
That's definitely awful.
Mm-hmm. So we didn't really saw you last night.
Yeah, I was gonna say so we did the show Wednesday. Thursday I went to go see the Deftones and Rise Against.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yes, you did.
I did. And that was definitely a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Rise Against was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Deftones fan, so you know what we forgot to do?
What?
We forgot to thank Low Tide Kava Bar for the kava we'll be drinking during today's show.
I feel like that's how we do it now. We just forget it so we can say, you know what we forgot to do?
Right. So let's do a quick bula to Low Tide and... Oh, that is on there. Okay. Shells up. Bula.
Bull?
That's breakfast of champions right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Let's get right into it.
All right.
First, if you like our show, make sure to head over to our website, muddiedwatersofreedom.com. You got a whole listing of every episode we've done so far and some of our writings. I'll be putting an article out soon, hopefully by Monday, on Bolivia, Venezuela, capitalism, socialism, welfare, communism, what those words mean, why it's important to know what they mean, why it's important to distinct every single word, and make sure we know the differences between them. You know what our social media is, so.
Right. But in case you don't, it's facebook.com/Muddied Waters of Freedom. Instagram, it's at Muddied Waters of Freedom. And on Twitter, it's at Muddied_Waters. So like, share, follow, all that good stuff. And, you know, if you are in the St. Pete area today, since we're just going to go right into it.
Yeah, we're going right into it. Yeah.
Okay. Since we're in the St. Pete area, if you're in the St. Pete area today, make sure that if you decide to go out to the Pride Parade downtown, 1, be safe. 2, don't drink and drive. 3, look for the Low Tide Kava Bar, Muddy Waters Kava and Muddy Water Kava and Tea, and Grassroots Kava House float that is going to be there. You'll be able to pick it out easily because of the shirt that I'm wearing. You'll be able to see that logo a lot. Because we are all wearing it in order to promote the unity between the kava bars here in the area.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is a very big thing.
Wear a condom.
Yes.
If you partake.
Even if you don't, slide one on. It's better to be safe than sorry. Because, you never know.
So today is obviously Gay Day here in St. Pete. It's one of the biggest pride parades that happens in the whole country, right? Third.
Is it third? I thought it was second. But
second or third.
Right.
It's pretty fucking big. It's been like that for a while.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. I've only been a few times. Been last year. I don't think I'm going today. Not really a big fan of that sort of large gathering. But it's a fun event. Lots of things to see. Lots of cool people to go and hang out with.
Yeah, I have lived here. I have lived here 4 years next week.
You got the date on your watch?
I do.
Oh, you did. Never mind.
I have lived here 4 years next week, and this will be the first parade I have ever actually been to. I helped set up for last year.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I want to see what this is like because I've heard many stories, but I've never actually.
Yeah.
I have never actually been involved in the parade, so I'm interested to see how this goes. But I also know that since I am 38, that once that parade is over, I'm not going to want to be anywhere near downtown.
That's true.
I am going to sprint back to Gulfport as quickly as I possibly can.
Yep. And as we all know, LGBT issues are, for whether you want to say good or bad reasons, are still at the forefront of today's issues. People think that their rights may be taken away, blah, 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 stuff like that. But it's important to go out and celebrate with your friends who are, if that's what they believe in, going out and having fun at the parade.
Right.
Cool thing about the LP is first party to have an openly gay presidential candidate. I forget the guy's name. It was like 1972.
That was when we started.
Perhaps. I'm not sure, but I do know it was very early on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I think it was 1971 or 1972 is when the LP was founded.
Yeah. And this country's came a long way when it comes to gay issues.
No, the strides that have been made for equality for the LGBTQ community has been astronomical and amazing, and has been great to see.
Yeah, and not just legislatively, we're talking culturally. It's a lot more
open and accepting.
Yeah, accepting, tolerating. I think tolerance is important. See, I've had a few conversations with some of my gay friends over the mayor race that'll be taking place soon between Kreisman and Baker about...
It's the Ricks, right? Is it Rick Kreisman?
Yeah.
Rick Kreisman versus Rick Baker?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
The Ricks. The Council of Ricks.
Mm-hmm. We had a conversation on is tolerance enough? Or do you have to be actually accepting? Because some people have the issue with Baker that he was only tolerant and not openly accepting, like Kreisman.
Like Kreisman.
Yeah. So we had some good conversations on it, and I was the opinion of tolerance is enough as long as you're not trying to stop anybody from doing anything. I don't think anybody should have to fake outward love to anybody. And that's just my honest opinion on it, and found that seems to be generally the consensus off of Facebook anyways.
Right.
That some ex-person should not have to love me. Same thing goes for a Muslim or X, Y, and Z demographic.
I don't want anybody out there who doesn't like me for whatever reason, whether it's cisgendered, white, male, whatever. If they don't want to like me because of that, I don't want them to have to fake it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Hate me to my face, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just won't like you back. It really doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But the middle ground of that is just the I don't care coalition.
Right.
And people got to realize some of these things take time to grow towards. So you can't really expect, for example, all conservatives to just come out and start going to gay pride parade if they don't have any stake in it, if they don't have any gay family members or whatever.
Right.
They're not just going to come out and start going to pride parade because that's the end thing. It's going to take them time to realize that it's a normal thing and there's nothing they can do about it.
Right. And another thing that we were actually talking about last night while we were at Low Tide is if somebody is not just tolerant of your movement, but accepting of your movement, if they don't agree with your political views, don't shut them up.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that they are, you want to be all inclusive as well. You can't say, you don't want to be, oh, you have to accept our views as well as our ideals.
Yeah.
If that.
You talk about David?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we talked about how a lot of pride parades across the country have basically shuttered out their right-wing leaning gays from having floats or anything like that during their parades.
Yeah, just being involved in the
Yeah.
festivities
Yeah.
of the Pride weekends.
It really sucks when that happens because you're talking about tolerance, and I think we should be able to call something out like that. You talk about tolerance, and then you say that pro-gun gays can't march or libertarian gays can't march because it doesn't conform with I
The
guess
other
idea of
political,
being gay
yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, we were talking with that, not last night, but Wednesday night before we came here and did the show, we were talking with our friend who is conservative and gay. And I had no idea he was conservative just because I assumed.
Who?
Sean.
Sean. I don't even know who we're talking about.
Lawnmower Sean.
Lawnmower Sean, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
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 And I didn't know he was conservative,
Mm-hmm.
or conservative leaning in those,
Yeah.
fiscally,
Yes.
I guess would be the way to put that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that, and he was like, yeah, most people don't assume that because they assume since I'm gay, I lean liberal on everything.
Exactly.
And that blew my mind, and I can imagine the amount of backlash based on the conversation that we were having last night that some gay people can have if they do lean conservative on other aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not an all or nothing in my mind. Like, it's not,
Exactly.
well, I'm gay, so now I have to believe in this, and this.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And that would mean I'm gay, so I find you attractive,
Yeah. Exactly.
which I don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're a good-looking guy, but
Thanks.
yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, I would imagine that's got to be very difficult to try to traverse that
Mm-hmm.
as a member of the gay community.
Yeah. Or plenty of minority type communities. As a Muslim, I've gotten it
Right.
of like, how am I Republican or whatever.
And
Blacks get it all the
I was gonna say,
time.
I'm
They're all
certain that
Uncle
black-
Toms.
Right. I was
Yeah.
gonna say I'm certain that black people get it
Mhm.
if they're conservative.
When we had Zuri on, she talked about it. You remember when she was on Fox News because a bunch of liberals attacked her for supporting Rand Paul, and she said it shouldn't matter that she's a black woman that supports a constitutionalist. So
And,
it happens.
Our friend in Texas,
Antonio.
yeah, Antonia Okafor.
Okafor.
Yeah, I have seen some of the articles that like BET has written about her.
Yeah.
Those are brutal, and that's
Yeah.
just because she's pro Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, she is I think she's super attractive,
She is. Yeah.
but she's super attractive, and she's a strong, powerful female voice,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
the African American community, and people are like, oh well, just bashing her based on appearance,
Basically.
and just because, and they wouldn't be if she was anti-gun or pro-state-run welfare or whatever. Like, they wouldn't care. They would not hit it at all. But no, because she's very conservative on because she's very conservative on those things, she gets hit so hard. And those articles are, like, I feel bad reading those articles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They aren't even about me.
No. Yeah, and that's the sad thing. She's had the same views for as long as I've known her, which has only been maybe 2 years and a half now. Same person. She just happens to have found a good group of people that support her, and she's worked hard to get where she's at. And it's obviously a danger that somebody like her has those kind of opinions. She's not even the only black woman that's got those kind of opinions, but it's pretty sad that you can't go out and say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
She's
she
on.
just joined.
Hello, Antonia. We were just talking about you. But yeah. Hopefully, the takeaway from today, which will not be realized today, is that identity politics are shitty, and you shouldn't be preaching tolerance if you're not going to be practicing the tolerance.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're gonna make this a. We're just gonna go with whatever topics we have,
Right.
because you gotta go to the parade.
I do. I have
Yeah.
to go to the parade
Yeah.
since I am on the float for the parade. So I have to get over there.
All right. Well, let's go into our next topic on local things that are happening. We had Governor Rick Scott yesterday signing the medical marijuana bill that isn't perfect here in Florida. It's got the shitty thing about the bill is it's got a monopoly on it. It allows 10 companies to produce and sell products made from marijuana. And it actually excludes, it's funny, it excludes smoking, but you can use the oils, drops, and everything else you can, just not smoking, which I thought was kind of silly.
I thought okay, so one of the things that was included in that bill is edibles are allowed. As long as those edibles do not market, they couldn't potentially be marketed to children.
Yeah.
Now, I have done a fair share of
Are they worried about end caps or something? We're just trying to sell the heroin to 5-year-olds, not marijuana.
Right. No, heroin to 5-year-olds are nothing. Yeah. Yeah. So I was reading that and I was like, I've done my fair share of edibles in my life.
Yeah.
And all of the edibles I've ever done are gummy candies, like gummy candies, hard candies, or brownies.
Yes.
I'm pretty certain all of those cater to like children.
Yep.
But at the same time, they cater to me as a 38-year-old male.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like those, so don't take those away from me.
Yeah. I take Fred Flintstone candy. Vitamins.
Do you really?
Every now and then.
That's awesome.
My nieces.
But yeah, like to put in that. Okay, edibles are fine, but it better be like kale.
Yeah.
Right, marijuana kale.
And the idea of catering to children to me is extremely silly. I mean, you just talked about how this thing that still caters to somebody of our age supposedly would work on children, yes, but I seriously have not. I know people that have sold, different drugs, and none of them have ever told me that a child was one of their target demographics, and I don't know how a child could be a target demographic when they don't have money.
Right.
Money, a vehicle, anything like that. When you're trying to sell anything like that, usually you're trying to go for somebody with money. You're not trying to give away your stock.
Right. Yeah. I was in a conversation with my dad, and I was saying that we need to get rid of the drinking age.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, we need to make it 25. And then he followed it up by saying, yeah. And then he said we need to make the voting age 25. And I said, I'll agree with that if you agree that you can't join the military till 25. And he said, no 25-year-old would do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was saying, yeah, if you own a business, if you own a restaurant, and you could serve alcohol to anybody you want, would you serve to 15-year-olds? And he was like, yeah, probably. And I said, okay, now you don't own a restaurant, and you're, however old you are now, 70, and you go to a restaurant. Would you go to a restaurant that serves 15-year-olds? No. Do you think other adults would go to a restaurant that serves? No. Do you think the restaurant would continue serving 15-year-olds? Well, maybe. Do you think 15-year-olds have a lot of money to spend at a restaurant?
But yeah, the thing is, if they do have the money to spend it, more power to them, because they probably do. I say that because I was a senior in high school, and so are you. The age limit on drinking doesn't stop drinking at all whatsoever. And if you at least open it, you know, you can have it at 50, people are still going to drink. I mean, it was obvious with the prohibition. But when it comes to 21-year-olds and over being the only ones allowed to drink, what if you allow younger adults and older teens up from the age of 15, let's say, to drink in a bar? A bartender has the ability to cut somebody off no matter who it is. When these young kids go out to their house parties with their mass amounts of alcohol that they somehow get, that they will get no matter what, they're going to binge on it and they're going to drink all they want. No one's going to cut them off. Well, why not let them go to a bar where they can be cut off?
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
If they consent to going to a bar and then have to be cut off, that's all on them. And at least they're out there already. Maybe they can get a ride back, Uber, whatever. But when you're in someone's house or your own house drinking all that, there's nobody controlling it. So the issue of age limits going up, you know, even make even less sense to me than.
Yeah, to raise the drinking age just means that once people turn 25, it's not. I think the thought process there is, at 25 you're more mature, so that way you will be, you know, more reasonable in your drinking actions.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be the case. It's going to be, I've had to wait until I'm 25 to go out and do this. I'm going to binge like there's no tomorrow because, you know, my parents did it, you know, well, our parents could drink, well, maybe not yours, but my parents, I think, could drink at 18, I think was the legal drinking age back then. And then, you know, turned 21 nationwide back in the 80s under Reagan when he said it has to be 21 or you'll lose federal funding, which is why I don't like it when states take federal funding, because then the federal government can then withhold money if you don't do what they want. But they, so now you're waiting until you're 21, and as soon as people turn 20, what do you do on your 21st birthday? Like, you go out and you party until you vomit.
That's true.
I mean, that's essentially it. Like, your friends take you out and they buy you shots, they buy you beers, they buy you whatever, and you party until, like, you're well overserved. And the bartenders on your 21st birthday, they're like, oh, it's your 21st birthday?
Yeah, they.
You're not going to remember tonight. And that's pretty much every birthday that
everyone's buying you shots.
Yeah, that was pretty much every birthday that I had up until I quit drinking.
Yeah.
It was, we're going out and we're getting drunk. And, like, those were the nights that I got real drunk.
Yeah.
But so if you wait until somebody's 25, the same thing's going to happen. But since they've waited longer, like, they're just going to do it more.
Yeah.
Because they're going to try to binge as much as they can in a short period of time. Like, granted, they may not binge for 4 or 5 years like you do when you turn 21. You start drinking and it's like, yes, I can do this, and then you binge. But at 25, you're already kind of settled in. So it's like, let's not do that. But you're still going to binge hard, and you're still going to make the same mistakes. And
And in my case, it was the opposite. I drank when I was in high school. I drank through my first 3 years in the Army. And then when I turned 21 in Iraq and I came back, I pretty much started cutting down. And then I stopped. And the only time I drink alcohol ever is when I have a beer or two, when I go to, like, a Young Republicans meeting, or I go to, like, some training in D.C. or some Young Americans for Liberty thing. It's about the only time I'll drink. To me, it's less fun once you turn 21, because there's none of that rebel aspect.
There is none of the rebel aspect.
Which is a big thing when it comes to any kind of drug, really. Smoking before 18, drinking before 21.
That means you were doing it wrong, because the rebel aspect comes in when you get, like, nearly blackout, but not quite, and then decide to drive.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's where the rebel aspect comes in.
I can't remember if I've ever drove drunk, but I doubt it.
There were many mornings that I woke up in my bed, didn't know how I got there, and my car was at my house.
Not me, man.
Yeah. I remember the first time that happened, I woke up and I was just like, oh, I'm home. I wonder who brought me here. And so I'd, like, get ready, and I was like, well, I'm only like a mile from work, so I'll just walk there. And I walk outside, and my car was parked right there, crooked. And I was like, huh. Guess I did that.
Yeah.
Which was great that day because it was cold. So, I mean, I just jumped right in my car and I drove to work. But at the same time, like, that's idiotically dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times that I woke up going, I wonder how I got home.
Yeah.
Walk outside. Oh, there's my car.
I'm glad you don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm really glad I don't do that anymore.
Because we have kava.
Right. And it's real hard to black out.
It is. It's almost impossible, actually. You'll just get real tired. Depending on the person, you'll probably just get real tired.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of illegal things, in California, 3 California men were arrested for illegally selling $300,000 worth of avocados.
Yep.
Glad those men were taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Menace to society.
Thank God we caught those people. What if they sold those avocados to 5-year-olds?
Yeah,
that would have been awful.
What if they sold them to white people? Cultural appropriation.
Oh, yeah, very much so. And actually, it's not on our list, but I'm certain that you heard about it. California, the open border people, they're like, yes, let's do open borders.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah. They banned state-funded travel.
Oh, yeah. To like 4 different states that
8 states total now.
Oh, 8 states. Yeah.
Do you know what is included? I just realized this. And do you know what's included in state-funded travel?
No.
College sports teams.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
That means California teams can't.
So Texas
colleges.
Yeah.
Can't play over there.
So like USC or Stanford can't play against Texas, North Carolina. I think Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee. Like, what are they going to do about those games? Are they gonna force those teams to go to California?
Yeah, but I do have to say, like, both sides on this are stupid. The travel thing is definitely retarded because it's a do as I say, not as I do thing of the federal government, and Trump shouldn't be able to ban travel of certain kinds. Yet the state of California will be doing exactly that.
But see, is Trump banning travel out of the country?
No, but
besides to Cuba.
But a wall big enough to keep people out is big enough to keep people in. Is how I look at it. And the whole border talk that I don't know if we ever had an actual border talk on the show. I am split on that. I don't even know.
I am the same
I'm
way.
Open borders or not. I don't know if I'm closed borders or not.
I see the argument for both sides.
Yeah, but I'm definitely for privatizing just all that land. So
absolutely.
Let them deal with it. But there's obviously the question of the in-between until you get to that point when you privatize everything. What do? That's when the open borders and closed border arguments come into play. Which there was a really big debate on that between... it was moderated by Eric July, and it was between some guy that I forget his name and Chase Rachels. He wrote A Spontaneous Order, and he's part of the Blue Ridge Liberty Project. Great guy. It was a great conversation. But, yeah, not sure where I stand on that. But my issue is with what those states did causing California to do that is, obviously, I've talked about this before. I'm pro-life, and I think there's a lot of things that need to change. And I've talked about adoption and how adoption needs to be easier. What these different what these states have done now is they've made it harder for kids to be adopted, even harder. And I'm pretty much, I think it's a step backwards.
I absolutely think it's a step backwards.
Yeah, one of my best friends, I won't mention her name. One of my best friends and her brothers, who I also happen to be friends with, I went to high school with them. I was in ROTC with one of them, and I knew both of their mothers. They both had the same 2 lesbian mothers, and both of them, the boy and the girl, have a traditional family, traditional nuclear family, and having lesbian mothers didn't stop them from doing that. And that's where this fear thing comes in of why they're trying to stop gays from adoption. I think it's silly, and it's a step backwards for the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I have seen traditional families where the kids turn out exceptionally screwed up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course, yeah.
Exceptionally screwed up.
Yeah. Actually,
Don't-
that's mostly the case anyways, because
Right.
we're the majority.
Right.
We as in the non-gays.
Right, the traditional family makeup. I'm trying to think if I know anybody who's got a my two dads or my two moms situation. And I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. But the people that end up screwed up are the people who their families don't have, for the sake of sounding cheesy, the people who don't have the right amount of love in the family.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't care if they're, two gay people, two straight people, two whatever. Like, as long as the love in the family is there and the caring is there, the family should, like, the kids will be okay and be able to make the right, informed, intelligent decisions.
Yes.
It's not that, well, Billy has two dads, so Billy obviously is going to be attracted to men.
Yes.
So that will just, eventually end up with the end of the human race if we continue to do that. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
You take it to the logical conclusion. I mean, straight families shouldn't be having gay kids, and obviously that's not the case. And you take that to the logical conclusion of Adam and Eve being the first nuclear family. There should not have been a single gay person in existence if that was the case. So
Right, but one of their kids did kill their other kid.
yeah, that's different. Murder's different. Murder's
Murder's there's only 4 people on Earth. I mean, odds are somebody's getting killed in that situation.
Yes, yeah. There is
A lot of pent-up sexual rage going on because there's nobody there to have sex with. So it's just like, okay, well, now I got to kill somebody.
Well, there's some silliness in our religions. The ones, even my own, like I can admit to the silliness in Islam, and by extension, the silliness in a lot of the that I've seen some of the major religions out there. There's silliness out there, stuff I don't think are even part of our religions or belong in our religions, but somehow have made it in our books.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I find silly. Murder's bad, but it seems like being gay is worse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Moving on.
Right.
Moving on. To a nation that doesn't treat its gays well. ISIS. ISIS doesn't treat their gays well at all.
No,
They're not nice.
They do not like their gays in ISIS.
Throwing them off rooftops.
Right. Stoning
Blah, blah,
them in
blah.
the streets.
Yeah. ISIS 2 days ago bombed an 800-year-old mosque, the Grand Al Nouri Mosque. It was pretty sad. I made a post about it, and somebody reported it.
And Facebook
Still,
deleted it.
nobody told. Yeah, nobody came out and told me who reported it. So, if you're out there, you're a pussy.
I can't believe that Facebook wouldn't tell you. Like, they don't say who did it, so you could block them from your page.
It gives them the option to block me.
Right. They can block you. Why are they reporting your post for saying something offensive as opposed to just blocking you?
Yeah, and I feel like the offensive thing here is because I got all types of friends on Facebook / followers. I'll say mostly followers. I do have some friends. No, not many. But maybe the offensive portion was me saying that perhaps these ISIS guys aren't as Muslim as they say they are, blowing up an 800-year-old mosque.
Right. Like, I did not see anything wrong with that.
No, there was nothing wrong with it.
I saw that would be like I'm trying to think of a really big Christian, and I'm having trouble with it.
What, a big Christian? Like Pat Robertson, big Christian?
Okay, that'd be like Pat Robertson and his group blowing up Billy Graham's church.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because that's the oldest church in America that I can think of.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or like the National Cathedral. Right? Like Pat Robertson's like, oh, I'm going to go blow up the National Cathedral because it's got demons on the outside of it.
Wait. The National Cathedral, cathedrals are typically Catholic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so a better example would be a Catholic person blowing up that.
Okay.
That would be the best example. You
Okay.
don't want to intermix the sects here just to make it, yeah.
Big Catholic person that's famous.
Yeah.
Blowing up the National Cathedral because on the outside they have Darth Vader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like it would make no sense. And if you were to say, I can't believe that the Catholic group blew up the National Cathedral and somebody reported it for offensive, like who would?
Yeah.
That makes zero sense that somebody finds that offensive.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Like the offensive part is that they did it, not that you find shock that they did it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And ended up having a conversation about like if they are Muslims or not, and you know, there's a concept that some Muslims follow. It's talked about in a book called Islam Without Extremes: A Muslim Case for Liberty by Mustafa Eichel. He was interviewed by Macy's Media and Jeffrey Tucker. He talks about the concepts of liberty in Islam, especially early when Islam had came about, and the concept is called takfiring or takfir. And if you hear the root word there, you might have seen it before on like different T-shirts, usually like veteran T-shirts, maybe something like that. Kafir. Kafir means infidel or non-believer, which is incorrect to say that you're a non-believer because as a Christian you're not. That's not the point, though. Takfiring is it's an idea that terrorists, especially like ISIS, use to subjugate and punish especially other Muslims. So they would go out and say, well, if you're not doing what we're doing, you're not really Muslim. Boom, justification to kill you and torture your family. So I'm not a fan of takfiring because that's something that terrorists do. I believe in that it's up to God at the end of time, the day of judgment. It's up to God to decide who is a believer in him or not and who to punish or not. So are ISIS Muslim? I don't know. And I know I was just poking fun at them saying, are they Muslim? That's a very good question to ask. Because would a Muslim blow up an old mosque like that? Would anybody that follows an old religion, well, I'm sorry, would anybody that follows any religion blow up an ancient religious site of their own? You know, that should cause you to ask some questions.
Days since Trump took office, and ISIS is still here, shockingly.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how that, because he had a plan to defeat ISIS in
Very quickly, yeah.
45 days, and we're on like day 150-ish.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And we still have ISIS in this world.
Yes, we do.
Weird.
Yep. Speaking of Trump.
So yeah, Trump banned. He did a temporary ban on photographers in the press room.
Well, I think it's just his press secretary that did that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I would think so. I doubt it's not House of Cards where he's like, you know, hey, ban all the cameras. But yeah, they banned cameras in the press box.
In the press box, and CNN brought in a courtroom.
Yeah, they have a
sketch
sketch artist. Yeah, that was pretty funny. It's pretty cool. He's like drawing the pictures. But you know, a lot of people I noticed on the article on the Hill talking about how it's like against free speech or whatever. And the thing that people don't understand is free speech is the government not interfering with your rights to publish or say whatever you want. And believe it or not, the White House does not even owe anybody a press box.
No.
They just can't stop you from writing whatever you're doing, but they don't have to entertain you. On top of that, cameras, I mean, yeah, it's crappy that there's no cameras there, but it still has nothing to do with free speech. It's a camera.
Right.
You're still there doing your journalistic work, quote unquote.
And you get to say whatever you want to say about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Without fear of being punished by the government.
Exactly. If we were the government and we did not talk to you, you still have the right to say whatever you want about us, including the fact that we didn't talk to you. But that's just not the case when with what's going on in the White House. But yeah, I just thought I would mention that part because I've just seen a lot of misconceptions about the free speech and what it entails, because it seems that some people are for like this idea that people deserve a platform to speak, and then some people, and then the same people in other instances would say no platform for X person, and that would be something like Milo Yiannopoulos cannot talk and say his ideas on college campus, but in the same people would say something like the press box has to have the right to ask questions and has to have the answers and has to have cameras in there. But none of that is true. The only thing the First Amendment does is the government can't stop you from reporting what you want to report on, from saying what you want to say, from following whatever religion you want, so on and so forth.
Right. Which, as far as I know, by them not allowing cameras in there, doesn't mean that they're stopping you from doing anything.
No, and if anybody has an argument on why that's not the case, I'd be willing to listen, but I know you're not going to have one.
Way to insult every single listener. Nice job. I like it.
We'll see you next episode.
So moving on, the Senate healthcare bill.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that one.
No, we didn't. We kind of skipped right over it.
Yeah.
So the Senate healthcare bill is awful.
Yeah, it's the same shit with the one from the House. Yeah, 4 Republican senators coming out against it. One random name that I forget. The other 3 ones are Ted Cruz, Mike Lee from Utah,
and Bay.
Yeah. And then Trump came out and said that he's making it a sole mission to get Rand Paul's vote on this thing.
He said he'll call it his own personal victory to get Rand Paul's vote on this thing.
Yeah.
Did you see Rand Paul on Morning Joe?
No.
Okay, so Rand Paul went on Morning Joe yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. No. I don't know, Thursday or Friday. I don't remember which. He went on Morning Joe the other day, and he was being interviewed about it, and he was like, no, this isn't a good bill. And then he went in, and of course everybody was like, oh, okay. And they're listening to him now because he's a Republican saying it's a bad bill. And then he said, we need to legalize cheap insurance. There is no reason that insurance should not cost you $1 a day.
Yeah, I saw the articles on that.
Yeah, I watched the interview. It was a good interview by him, but he's right. Because of how the insurance company and their lobbyists have worked the system so that way, making it essentially impossible to get cheap insurance, it's technically illegal to get it. But he's saying that he wants to get rid of all of those restrictions, so that way it's possible that we could get insurance for $31 a month.
Yeah.
And I think that is the best goal that we can possibly have right now.
Yeah.
I will be more okay. So I found out this week. I found out on Thursday that my insurance got canceled, and I had no clue. I had no idea. But because of Obamacare and everything like that, I'm now going to have to pay the fine, and I don't have insurance. So I'm currently looking for cash-only doctors that, are like, yeah, we just take cash. We don't deal with insurance. Like, I'm currently looking for that. I think there is one here in the St. Pete area. Yeah. Luckily, it's not too far. But, because of a mistake that Florida Blue had made, I have lost my insurance. And I found that out because I went to make a doctor appointment just for, a little checkup. I'm in my late 30s now. I need to do this. And they were like, oh, yeah, you don't have insurance. And I was like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
This is my insurance card number. And I said, no, it's canceled. So I spent the next hour and a half. And if you remember for anybody who listened or watched our last program where I went off on Jason, Joffe, Jaffe, out of Lighthouse Point, which if you want his cell phone number, I have it. And I'll be happy to give it to you. Where I went off on him. That was nothing compared to what I said to the people on the other end of the phone at Florida Blue.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, so basically you guys just like lined up in a line and bent me over and just screwed me with zero lube over and over and over again, and nobody called to tell me that it was going to happen. And the guy was like, you can't talk to me that way. I was like, I'm not talking to you that way. I'm talking to your company that way.
Yeah.
I know you didn't technically do it, but your company totally screwed me on this one.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, and he was trying to explain it, and he goes, I understand you're frustrated, but you need to call the marketplace. And I was like, okay. So then I called the marketplace, and I was talking with that guy, and he was like, yeah, no, I understand your frustration. He goes, and if I could reactivate your insurance, I would do it right now. And I was like, okay, well, why can't you? And he goes, well, it needs to go to a person, somebody else to do it, because, you know, government makes a lot of sense. And he goes, so it'll probably take about 30 days for them to make their decision. And I was like, okay. And I said, so what are they going to do? And, well, they're going to investigate. They're going to look into the phone calls. They're going to whatever. And I said, okay. I said, so you guys are a government agency, correct? And he goes, yeah. And I said, so right now I'm relying on the government believing me when I say I called them back and they told me nothing was wrong with my account versus whatever Florida Blue is going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, yeah. And I said, forgive me if I don't have a lot of faith in the government on this one.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I can understand that too. And he goes, but if you haven't had, if it's been less than 2 months, I said, apparently it's been over 3 since they canceled me because I don't go to the doctor ever. Yeah. Much to the dismay of many people that I know, where they're like, you should probably see a doctor about that. Like, yeah, it'll go away. But yeah, he was like, no, I can understand that. But, you know, like if it was me, I believe you. I can see that this is probably what happened. And I was like, right. So can we just get that like expedited so I can get these people off my back about going to the doctor about something that I probably don't need to go to the doctor about?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, we still have to do the 30-day investigative thing. And I'm like, God, the government is amazing. Like, that guy's now got a job for at least a month. Mm-hmm. And no wonder insurance rates are skyrocketing.
Yeah. Actually, speaking about insurance, well, healthcare in general, I guess Trump did sign what seems to be a pretty good bill about whistleblowers within the VA system and making it easier to fire bad people that don't belong in the system. And trust me, the VA system sucks. I'm in it. So hopefully that ends up working out. But that's socialized healthcare for you. That's welfare for you.
Right. That is absolutely socialized healthcare. And I remember when I was arguing with somebody on Facebook about universal healthcare versus non-universal healthcare versus privatized healthcare. And he was saying universal healthcare would work. Look at the VA.
What about it? Yeah.
Apparently it works.
The VA gives veterans a second chance to serve their country. VA doesn't do anything good. I mean, whoever they end up helping obviously gets help, and that's good. But they mess up quite often.
Right. They mess up more often than they don't mess up.
Yeah.
And like, I've never dealt with the VA, but I have heard your stories or, you know, Ryan's stories or, you know, other people's stories about the VA. And I, with the exception of the one guy that I got into that argument with on Facebook, I cannot name one person that has told me a good story about the VA.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if he's ever dealt with the VA. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure if he's like military, like if he's former military, but he was just saying, no, the VA helps these people and the VA does a lot of good. And I'm going, not based on any, you understand they just fired like so many people because the VA like just completely screwed up. And he was like, no, the VA is really good. It's well run. It's very,
I'll take your word for it.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that as opposed to, all the reports that I hear and the personal anecdotal stories that I hear from friends of mine who go to the VA as opposed to your own personal opinion on this.
Yeah. No, that's
Just because you want universal health care does not mean that the VA is good.
Yeah. No, universal healthcare is a funny idea of limiting services to a bunch of people so you can offer them to other people over a longer period of time. There's no way around that.
Right.
You gotta look at the Swiss system and what they're doing. Actually, we got into a conversation on it yesterday about like how welfare works in Scandinavia. I was very surprised. One of my friends that I did not knew so much was telling me that she knows that in Scandinavia, that welfare system is on the backs of a large free market.
Mm-hmm.
And all it is a lot of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people don't understand.
Which, if we want to have any larger welfare system, any larger universal healthcare system, anything like that, it's gonna fall on the backs of taxes.
It has to, yeah.
Because there's no other way to pay for it.
It has to, yeah.
And that's when it gets into they need to pay their fair share thing. But
Yeah.
there was a professor. I don't know when this was. I saw the video yesterday, but I'm certain it was old. But there was a professor of a video of a professor on Tucker Carlson who's thought that people should pay 80%. And he said, "Why don't you?"
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "I don't know how." And he goes, "It's easy. You just write a check,
Yeah.
and send it in.
Yeah.
And they'll take it.
Yeah.
They'll take it with no problem. They won't even question it.
Yeah.
They're not going to send you a letter and say, "Did
Elizabeth Warren, was that who it is?
No, I don't think Elizabeth Warren wants to give up 80% of
Hell
her
no.
salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, "No, I'd be happy to do it." And Tucker Carlson went, "Okay, so why don't you?" And
Mhm.
she said, "Well, I don't know how." Okay, yes, you do.
Mhm.
It's not hard. Like, you can just write a check and send it in.
Yeah.
Even I know, you know, IRS, Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need an address, don't need anything. Just send that right in.
Mhm.
They'll get it.
Yeah.
That's like, you could send I don't know if you can anymore, but I know that back in the 90s, you could send a letter to Rush Limbaugh, and if you wrote Rush Limbaugh, New York, he would get it. Like, you didn't need address, you didn't need zip code, you didn't need anything. You just need Rush Limbaugh, New York.
Oh,
and
because
he-
everybody knows who he is.
'Cause everybody
Which
knows.
Rush Limbaugh.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing. It's like IRS, Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Nothing else is needed.
Yeah.
It will get there. They're going to know exactly where that's going. So, and she didn't want to admit that she didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That she wanted.
Of course not.
No, but she was like, "I spend so much of my money helping other people." And he goes, "Okay, so why not just give it to the IRS and let them, let the government do it?"
Yeah.
Well, because
They're bad at it.
because reasons. Yeah, exactly. Because they're bad at it. Like, to do privatized welfare is a much better system because then the money actually gets distributed where it needs to go, as
Mhm.
opposed to the people who are just trying to rip off the system. Because
Yeah.
you have to do that in order to keep that charity alive.
Yeah.
Unlike the government, who that charity is going to stay alive no matter what.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, if you want to pay 80% of your income to the government, just write them a check. They won't mind. They won't even say anything. You won't get a thank you letter.
Prove us wrong.
Right. If you get a thank you letter, please let me know, because I would love to be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But I am willing to bet that if you gave 80% of your income to the government, you would get nothing in return.
Mm-hmm.
And you would still get taxed at whatever the initial
Mm-hmm.
rate was, not the 20% that you kept. All right. It is almost time for me to head downtown. So, do you have anything else today?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for listening. We are going to be getting this audio up momentarily as soon as I finish with the last few things. Remember to like, comment, share, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Muddied Waters of Freedom, on Instagram at Muddied Waters of Freedom, or on Twitter at Muddied_Waters. Do you want to do a bula real quick?
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
And if you are in downtown St. Pete tonight, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Get an Uber. Get a Lyft. Get a taxi if you still use one of those.
I'm always a DD, so.
Right. If you need a ride, hit me up. I will be happy to give you a ride up until a certain point.
Bula. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us.
Remember where we're going?
We don't need roads.